Just a heads up, y'all, we're at the Denison location here, and we're out in the hangar. So you may hear some noises, you might hear some propellers running behind us. I'm just giving you a heads up in case you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever else you may be consuming our podcast. That's why it may sound a little bit different. We're not in the studio. Welcome to another episode of Pilots Say What, where we get to hear what pilots have to say. And today I'm sitting down with Colby. Colby's sort of running the location out here in Denison for thrust flight. And you know, there's still a lot to get to know about you. I just learned quite a bit actually from talking to you. That, you know, without going too much into it, would you mind introducing yourself for the listeners and the viewers?
Sure. What's up, guys? My name's Colby Evans. I'm the operations manager for our thrust Denison location. I got a degree in aeronautics after college. I was looking for a job, happened to find thrust, love it here. They've treated me so well. I'm actually a student as well, which is kind of crazy, going through my flight journey, so love to give you guys an internal perspective. Awesome,
and that's something that I had just learned about you today. We'll talk a little bit about, you know, what it's like to kind of be in a position to influence people's training and make sure that things are going smooth for them, but also be in training yourself, also to kind of go through some of the journey that you did in the order that you did. I think there's a lot to learn from it. Let's zoom out and ask you this question. What's something someone needs to know about you for you to feel like they kind of understand you before they get to know you?
Sure. On the outside, I like to think I'm very extroverted. I like to go out a lot. I like to fish. I love to, you know, go out to concerts and all that sort of stuff, but on the inside I'm very, very introverted. I love reading books. I love watching documentaries. Very, very self-motivated person, so if you're not catching me outside watching a concert, you're catching me in the books. So
yeah, exactly. There's not a lot of would you say there's not a lot of in between play and work?
Yeah, it's all jumbled together. It's that's what aviation is. It's playing while you work, working while you play, learning as you go.
Yeah, I gotcha. I'm that way. I like to stay on the move, sort of. Okay, well, that's great. What's the moment do you remember first being interested in aviation? Or do you remember what made you interested in aviation?
Yeah, so I was 16 years old. I was in high school. I was in a career advisory class type of thing, and we were going through this thing of like top 5 jobs that you want, and you would go through this little survey, and went through all of it. There was like 50 questions, and top job was like medical something, below that was something else, below that was firefighter, and then number 5 was pilot, and I was like, pilot seems pretty cool. And then Christmas comes around, and my father, he gets me this little model airplane, and from that moment on, I was like, man, I want to be a pilot. I want to fly these things.
Yeah, that plane was fascinating to you. What was it? Did you look at the plane and you're like, this flies?
What was it? It was from some like Salvation Army, old, like, when was the Wright brothers? 1907 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Like, it was like a 1907 Wright Flyers plane, and I remember getting it and I was like, this is really cool. Like, this is where we came from. And then there was another one I got, and it was like a model airplane, and it was a 737. I was like, I'm gonna fly that one day.
That's pretty cool.
And I didn't know the journey, but I was like, I'm gonna get there.
That's pretty awesome. Well, part of your journey was, you know, you graduate high school and you end up going to Embry-Riddle, if I'm saying that right? But a lot of people go there and they plan on coming out with maybe flying, like flying certificates or something like that. What made you go to Embry-Riddle? Did you want a degree? Did you want to fly at that point? What was your motivation?
I wanted to fly. I wanted to fly planes, and obviously Embry-Riddle is like the Harvard of aviation. So I was like, if I'm going to go anywhere, it has to be there, right? When I got there, didn't realize how expensive it was. It's crazy, out of this world expensive. But wanted to go there. Knew I wanted to go there. Got a degree. Got a degree in 3 years rather than 4.
Okay.
Originally wanted to go fly, and when I got there, started flying, and I made the stupid mistake of flying first and not getting my medical. Found out I needed a medical, went to go get a medical, and I failed. So I couldn't be a pilot anymore. I was already out $10,000, $15,000, just like that, and thought my flying journey or becoming a pilot was over. So after that, I was like, you know what? I love aviation. I still want to be in it. I'm gonna get a degree in aviation, and you know, I want to have a career in aviation. And I get to thrust Thrust is awesome. They have provided me with a lot of resources. And as soon as I get here, they're like, man, you want to be a pilot, right? And I was like, yeah, but I can't. And they're like, go take the AME, or go to your AME, get your medical, start flying with us. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. So went to my AME like 2 weeks later, and I passed everything, got my medical, and I started immediately.
Just try it again, right? Like at a time that made sense for you, and it worked out.
Yep, 100%.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know those are. I know a few people I've talked to, pilots that have didn't understand the medical process and then found themselves in a long waiting period to get it all resolved. But I have to say congratulations on starting flying.
Thank you.
So now lots of questions come to mind. Like, so you're working and learning to fly at the same time. Are you doing it at the same pace? Is it a little slower? Are you? Yeah, how's that going?
I'm trying to do it at the same pace as these guys that are doing this program full time. Obviously, it's a little hard. It's longer days. When I was doing my private, I was doing flights at 6 a.m. I was working from 8 to 5. I was doing grounds from 5 to 7. And then afterwards, I was trying to get some study time in, and I was trying to go to bed early. So there was a lot of
like doing laundry and eating and exercise.
There was a lot that was built into it, but I'm so glad I started.
Yeah.
The hard part is balancing everything, but because everybody is here all the time, resources are available to me like at my fingertips.
Yeah.
It makes flight training and working here just a little bit easier.
That makes a little bit of sense. I the other question that just I can't help but to wonder about is being in a program that you're kind of taking part in a program that you have a hand in making sure it goes well. Are you getting insights about what it's like to experience the program from the other side as a student?
100%. It is allowing me to get a grasp of what these students are going through and what they're struggling with, and how to overcome those struggles, and what I need to do on the operations side in order to make their program the best and efficient program as possible.
Right.
So going through it helps extremely. It just opens up my eyeballs to what they're going through.
I think I think that is such a valuable part of being a leader, is to know like what it's like to be on the side of being led. So I can only imagine. I'm sure the students have a certain level of respect for at least you going through the program that they're going through as well. Because I don't know, I've always had that thing. I'm like, you don't know, you're not doing it. So, so you get here and you start working with Thrust, and you start helping them run the school, and then you kind of get to start flying. What's it been like post college, post degree, where you got to kind of like learn in a setting like that, where now you're getting to learn by just kind of being around in the industry a little bit, even though it's a small portion of it? Is there anything that you're learning that's different than what you expected about aviation? Yeah,
it's a lot more hands-on, which is obviously what you want. Like in college, it's mainly just read a book, take a test, take a quiz. It's very less hands-on. It's very just memorize the material and move on. Here, it's you're applying everything that you learned in college, which is anybody's career dream, right?
Right, exactly.
Apply what you learn.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, and you mentioned something earlier about how the people were a bigger aspect to what you're doing than you would have expected before. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Like, how much people play a role in aviation careers?
Oh, 100%. It's just like getting to know your instructors here. Like, you're probably not going to get taught from every instructor at any campus, right?
Right.
So getting to know all the instructors at the campus, making those connections, that's the first stop of connections being made, right?
Yeah.
It's just getting to know the people at your flight school. So as soon as you start doing that, that opens up opportunities. Seeing people on the ramp, like a fueler, understanding where he comes from. Maybe he has a job opportunity that might open up, and you're like, man, this guy at this flight school, he's a great instructor, he talks to me every day, like I'm gonna refer him to this job. So just opening yourself up to people and making yourself available to newer opportunities is going to expand your career. Earlier
you mentioned a little bit about how getting different perspectives from different instructors helped you with your flying. As a student, just getting to connect with people, it can help you training, right? Can you tell me a little bit more about how it's helped you learn just by connecting with people? Oh, 100%. Like when I was in my ground in private, I was struggling with weather.
weather is a big topic in aviation,
Right.
and sometimes it just gets confusing. And I'm asking my instructor, I'm like, I'm confused. Give me a different perspective. He's like,
Yeah.
and I go to my peers, my other students that I'm doing private with, and they're like, man, this is how I learned it. This is how my teacher taught it. And I'm like, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, biggest thing for me too was analogies. If you can apply an analogy to what you're learning, like with high pressure and low pressure systems, get an analogy for that, or make an acronym yourself for something.
Right.
Analogies and acronyms will help you tremendously with the program.
And what is it that you're trying to do by creating an analogy or an acronym? What are you trying to trick your brain into? Like, can you kind of explain why they're useful? To the best of your ability, at least?
Yeah, it almost like dumbs it down a little bit. So because aviation topics can be so complex and so confusing, dumbing it down a little bit to help you understand it makes it a little bit more learnable.
Yeah. You get to wrap your brain around it. You're really grasping it, engaging it with. I feel like if you can make an analogy out of something, you have to be able to like engage and understand it in order to make an analogy out of it, which is, I think, the point of the practice. It probably makes sense. Okay, and I'm curious about what things new that you learned about aviation after going through school and getting a degree and everything, because you know, maybe you're not in the airlines right now, but you're working with pilots every day, and you're working with people learning to fly every day. Are there things that you learned here that were kind of like an eye-opener into the industry?
Yeah, I think everybody preaches professionalism and being strict on a lot of certain topics.
Right.
But that's very important. But I also think you have to remember that everybody's human, and just being able to talk to people and make fun of each other and, you know, laugh once in a while. And we've had a lot of captains come and talk to us on our thrust days, and it's mainly about, I mean, being professional, but it's mainly about being able to talk to one another in the cockpit, because you're sitting in a cockpit with someone for 6-7 hours flying, and if you're just professional the entire time, you know, white knuckling it the entire time, head forward, and not talking to the guy next to you, it's going to be awkward, right? So learning that aviation it's professional, but it's also fun. It's also enjoyable. It's also learning what everybody's hobbies are and connecting with one another.
Right.
I think that's something that I learned that is kind of a cool aspect about aviation, and that is it's fun to be here.
It's strange how much of it actually turns out to seem somewhat like a service or like a people-related industry, almost like hospitality in a way. I guess I'm asking that because you're talking about connecting with people. What kind of gets in the way? What do you think kind of gets in the way of connecting with people in some situations? Like, how do you stay focused on just, you know, I don't know, how do you stay focused on connecting with people without letting other things get in the way?
The main thing is being yourself. Don't be someone that you're not.
I guess that's kind of a deeper question than I would have realized it to be. That's why I was like...
Make connections is the biggest thing. Don't be afraid to talk to people. That's another big thing. People get scared to talk to airline captains, and like everybody preaches, it's all about who you know and not what you know, you know. And that's the biggest thing. Don't be afraid to talk to people. Like if someone is flying a jet and they come and stop on the ramp, don't be afraid to go and introduce yourself. Like the biggest thing that's going to hurt you in this aviation is being to yourself. And putting yourself in a corner and only focusing on yourself.
I've seen that, yeah.
As soon as you start opening yourself up to people, like helping them and tutoring them, or you know, saying hi to people, or go and introduce yourself to the air traffic controllers, you open up yourself to more opportunities than you think.
Right, I like that, and I think that goes. That's probably true in so many areas, in so many industries, but it seems like especially in aviation. You know, things like that you've learned since you've been here. Were you kind of surprised at all from anything that you've learned since starting here, from what you expected? And again, this is a small part of the aviation community, but I guess I'm just curious if it's like, oh, I didn't think about aviation that way until I started working here.
Yeah, I mean, that goes back to what I just said, but also, especially with this campus, because it's so small, it's a great learner tool to start to know everybody, or open up that insecurity of talking to people. But that's going to be the main thing, is just opening yourself up to people.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, gotcha. And then, so now that you've been here, how long have you been teaching here now? I don't remember the timeline you told me earlier.
I've been an operations manager here for almost a year.
Okay.
I've been an operations manager here for about 6 months, and I've worked at Thrust for about a year, and I started my flight journey in May.
So you are running this location, you're starting to fly, you kind of said you'd like to stick with Thrust. Was there ever a particular job that you're like, oh, that'd be like the thing I would definitely love to do within aviation?
I want to do something corporate.
Okay.
I want to do something with private aviation, just because I love the aspect of getting to know people and getting to know who I'm flying with. And it just makes it more surreal when you're flying with someone that's like, let's say you're flying Kim Kardashian or something.
Yeah.
You know how cool that would be?
Yeah.
Or flying Drake around?
Yeah.
That would be so sick.
Yeah, it would.
But like when you're in those spots, you obviously don't want to be like stone cold, yo, I'm your pilot.
Right.
And not get to know them. Like, I think the cool aspect about being in corporate aviation is getting to know your passengers and what they do in life. And it opens you up to more opportunities too. Because as soon as they're like, man, my pilot was great. He was great with service. He, he helped us get off the plane, get on the plane.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to recommend you to this guy. And that just builds your resume up to more and more opportunities.
Do you, what do you think kind of, I don't know, that sort of makes me think that part of the fun would be to kind of witness different lifestyles and different people in different places. I mean, of course, I guess that's what a lot of aviation is about, but especially in the corporate world, seeing all the different reasons people fly for, it's kind of cool to me, the idea of that. What do you know about flying? Like, what do you know about flying corporate at all? Have you like looked into any of that stuff yet?
The parts that I've looked into are mainly the big differences between corporate and airlines. So Part 135 versus Part 121.
Okay.
And what that entails.
Right. And I think because I've talked to people who've been been interested. Maybe I'll try some Part 135 stuff. And I still don't know if I have a full grasp on the difference. But I guess to your point, it's not the airlines, right?
Yeah.
How long do you think it'll probably take you to? You're going to get all your ratings? That's what I want to know.
Yep.
And do you think that's going to take a little while, or you're going to work while you're doing that?
Because I'm with Thrust, obviously Thrust has a timeline that they want to stick under because they're accelerated,
right.
Which is amazing. And just because I'm an operations manager does not mean I'm subject to, I guess, lowered expectations.
Right.
So I still want to keep the expectations, at least for myself, as a ZTA student. So I still want to finish within a year and a half is
right.
ideal.
Right.
But obviously if it takes a little bit longer, it's not that big of a deal. But I still want to keep that high expectation of what a ZTA student is.
That makes sense. And now that you get to be kind of a student in a program that you have a big hand in, you get to kind of see things firsthand and what it's like, right?
Yep.
I feel like that has to be very interesting. Because I wonder if you ever have any moments where you're like, why is this way?
100%.
Yeah.
And it's so weird too, because I'm like scheduling my own EOCs and stage checks, and I'm like, all right, well, there's an opening there. I guess I'm putting myself there. And it's kind of weird, but it definitely helps diving into what students go through, just because it lets me know when to put them on the schedule, or if it's too much or too little, or timeline-wise, does it work for this student? Is it not enough for this one? And it lets me see what students are seeing. It gives me a better reality check of how it should be.
That makes sense, and you can keep an eye on what their needs are. Are there times when you can tell that students do need different things in their schedule? Like you can kind of get an eye for like this person does better with a schedule that looks a little bit more like this versus this person. And is that like scalable? Is that difficult to do for multiple students?
No, it's not difficult. One, because they already come in knowing that it's an accelerated program.
Right.
So they already come in expecting it to be a fast-paced environment and get done as quickly as possible.
Right.
With that, I love to double students up. Especially out here, I'm allowed a lot more free space, so I can put students on a lot more quickly, just because I have the aircraft availability and I have the instructor availability. So it's a lot easier to get students on more. But with that, it's a lot easier for students to be proactive out here because everybody knows everybody. Everybody's very, very friendly. So if something is too much, it's easy for them to come with me like, hey, I'm flying too much. I need to dial it back.
Right.
I got you, man. I'll dial back to just one a day. So I'm very, very flexible out here with students.
Do you have you worked over at the Addison location at all?
I trained over there.
You did train over. Okay, gotcha. Okay, there you go. That's interesting. That's what I wanted to ask about because it's a different vibe. It's crazy how thrust can keep a certain standard and motive and mission behind everything across the different locations because they are very different. I feel like this location has a completely different feel to it. Do you feel like, what do you feel like that is? Like, what's the difference kind of in the way that you feel out here versus there? Is it just kind of like it's in a different area? I mean, I don't know. Can you put your finger on that?
It's a different area. It's I think a different feel overall for a couple of reasons. One, Addison's the main campus, so it just has the most eyes on it. So that overall just makes it more involved. So there's just a lot more happening, a lot more stress involved over there. But with that, there's a lot more camaraderie. There's a lot more people over there, a lot more opportunity, right? So I think that's a big thing over there. Over here, one of the biggest differences, and I'm going to dive into airspace really quickly, is airspace.
Yeah.
In Addison, you're right underneath the Bravo, and in order to do your maneuvers and your training, you need to get outside the Bravo. So usually it takes about 20-30 minutes to go from at the airport to outside of the airspace to get your training done.
Right.
Compare that to here, we're a class Delta, so it's a little bit more wide open, a little bit easier to get to our practice areas. Like our practice areas, you go in any direction basically, 360 degrees, you go in any direction for 5 minutes and you're in a practice area. So I think that's something that's really, really cool. And the best way I describe it for comparing the two, whether you want to go to a busy airport, you want to go to a less busy airport for flight training, is kind of like driving a car. Let's say you are just now getting your license to drive a car, and you're training, you're driving with your mother, and you're in 7-lane, heavy highway traffic during rush hour.
Right.
It's going to be stressful. It's going to be busy. There's going to be a lot happening. There could be accidents. There could be, lane closures. It's just a lot more stressful environment. Now, there are some people that are good with stress and can take care of that, and kudos to them.
Right.
Here, it's more or less like a 2-lane highway or 2-lane road, 2-lane back road. There's a
See,
couple.
that stresses me out.
There's a couple of, drivers going up and down the road, but overall, it's a lot easier to train. You get to learn how the, steering wheel works and how the AC works and how the pedals work.
Right.
It's a lot more training friendly in that aspect. Now, when you get good enough, right, we're still going to send you over to the DFW area and have you drive down there in a stressful environment.
Right.
But we want you to get that practice first and then head over there. That way you know what to expect, you know how things are supposed to operate. I think that's the biggest difference, is we're still going to get you that experience, but we're going to get you prepared in other aspects first, like how to fly the plane, how your comms are supposed to work first, how you enter a non-towered airport, stuff like that. And that's stuff you learn in your private, whether you're at Addison or here, or at any busy airport or non-busy airport. But those are going to be the biggest differences.
Gotcha. I think that's a good way to put it too. People have talked about how they're grateful for how much they got to learn in Addison about flying at a busy airport, but I can only imagine learning under the conditions that are so busy. And again, you're still gonna have to end up doing it. But I think my first flight in the air, that would make me a little nervous. I had to talk to dispatches and stuff. You always have a CFI with you, but. Also, you guys do all seem pretty close out here. It's a small community, and when we come to Thrust Day for the first day of people's attendance to Thrust Flight, it's cool to see how everyone kind of does get to connect and kind of find their way around. And I don't know, I like the vibe out here. And it's kind of quiet sometimes too, even though the planes are coming by.
Yeah,
so that's nice.
It's a calm but amazing area. Like I've never heard of a flight school that has 2 pickleball courts in their hangar. I think
exactly.
Crazy awesome. So
that's actually funny. I was looking at the tape on the ground, and I was like, "Damn, we really just have the pickleball court up. That's kind of cool."
Yeah. So we play pickleball every Thrust Day, and every once in a while we throw a big old barbecue, and we have it in the hangar, and we eat food, play pickleball, have a tournament, play cornhole.
I'm gonna be honest, I think this is the most Texan location.
It's awesome out
I
here.
want people from other states to listen to this and be like, yeah, that's in Texas. This is the most Texan location because Denison location is like in the city, you know what I mean? And yeah, we're in Texas, but you're in the city. It's not the same, but I really like it out there. So what was the hardest part about starting your private training?
Oh, getting back into it. So being 3.5 years out of starting my flight training journey, it was hard, one, switching aircraft. So I started my flight training in a Cessna, switching to a Piper Archer, just a different feel.
Yeah.
They fly the same, they just look different. So it was just a different feel. I was like a little nervous getting into it. The next thing was just making sure my ground knowledge was there. I knew that was going to be the biggest hiccup, just because working full-time and doing ground schools, they were long days.
Yeah.
But with all the students here and them being here all day long, them helping me out through my ground was like, that was the kicker that knocked over everything.
Yeah.
That put me over the top, that allowed me to pass my EOC.
Yeah, and I hear that's what a lot of people say, that like if it wasn't for everyone else having like the people around you, that it'd be kind of tough to do that. Was there any part of it specifically that you said the time management and the studying and things like that, but and the ground, but is there any maneuver that you remember being either from the first time or from this time being a hard part of the private?
Ooh, my goodness, my short field landing was atrocious.
Yeah, it was not.
Oh my gosh, it was either gonna be a kerplop or it was gonna be like, we're not making the runway.
I mean, you see if I had to love you.
Oh my goodness. So, he had a lot of patience with me, thank goodness, because it was a maneuver. It's not even a maneuver, it's a landing, but it's a performance landing, so getting that was a little rough, but I finally got over the hump of being able to do it, and honestly, I failed my stage check because of it. But because I failed it, it helped me learn a little bit of what I needed to do a little bit different. Because as soon as you get like the biggest thing down, which is just getting down in there at a certain airspeed, it's all the little things, the little tweaks that make it a perfect landing.
Right.
So as soon as I perfected the little tweaks, it was what we pilots like to call it was a butter landing.
Yeah, I heard, that's so funny. A butter landing. Where does that come from? Does it come from the other phrase that? So funny. I hadn't heard that one yet.
Yeah.
But that being said, is there something that made that click at some point?
It was just switching. My one instructor, great instructor, but I had switched to a couple different instructors just to get a different point of view, and it really helped me like open my eyes to one thing. Which my one thing is I was always coming a little fast, and I was floating a little too much.
Right.
And he's like, just get into slow flight it down. And I was like, what? I can do that? They're like, yeah, you can do that. So did it first time, nailed it. Did it 2 more times, nailed it again. He's like, you're perfect. You can. That's commercial standard right there. And I was like, oh, say less.
That's so crazy how a different perspective can. Because do you feel like when someone gave you a different perspective, they tell you something you just didn't know? Is that what it feels like?
Yes, it's like they could say the same thing, but just hearing it from someone else just makes it click.
I've always been very intrigued by that, because some people can learn really well from like maybe even like a book, and I've never really quite been like that. I need to have like a lot of conversations about something with different perspectives, and I don't know why I'm necessarily that way, but it makes me think that like I think that learning is all on the person who's learning. But I mean, it kind of matters how you receive, who's giving it to you, and how they're giving it to you. Sometimes based on the individual, it seems like.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah. You're starting instrument soon, or you already started?
Next week.
Next week.
Start next week.
Okay.
I'm nervous.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of a different feel. What do you kind of expect being difficult about it?
One is that it's so short. Like all my instructors that I've talked to, they're like, "Man, I can get you done in 2-3 weeks," and I'm like, "Oh, like that's awesome."
Yeah.
But man, that's a drinking from a fire hose, is what they say, and
Yeah.
it's a a pill that's the size of a tennis ball that you're swallowing at that point.
Yeah.
But because I have such a good group of guys helping me out with everything, I don't want to say it's going to be a piece of cake, but it'll be a cheesecake.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I feel like working at the same time adds a whole nother layer to it all. Now, typically our students don't work. They're kind of required not to work, right? Because they need to have a full-time availability for flying, because it's an accelerated program for that point. Can Is anything in your experience validating like how much it kind of makes sense to learn your flying full time if you're doing it at an accelerated pace?
It would make it, I don't want to say a lot easier, but these students who are doing it full time, they get through the program. They're going to get through the program a lot quicker than I'm going to get through it. Like, it'll take them 8 to 10 months to get through all of their ratings, and it's probably going to take me a year and a half just because I'm not full time, and I'm only flying once a day. So these students that are flying twice a day, doing grounds here all day, only talking about aviation. Like, I'll go out to dinner every once in a while with some of the students. That's all they talk about is aviation, and I'm sitting there going, all right, guys, this is. I mean, I'm learning. I love it.
Yeah.
But it's like full on, all the time, aviation. It's all they talk about. It's all they think about. Yeah. It's all they watch on TV or YouTube. Yeah. But if you're not doing it that way, then you're obviously not going to succeed as much as the person next to you.
Right. It's gonna take a little bit longer. I'm curious though. Even at the rate that you're doing it, it's hard to work. I feel like. So I can only imagine someone thinking they could, fly at learn to fly at the pace that we teach it at when still trying to work. Some of the things that people still need to figure out when they're starting here, what kind of position can someone expect themselves to be in?
The biggest question I get asked students on thrust day is writtens. We usually come in, do their orientation, and one of the first questions we ask them is like, have you all started studying for your written? And a lot of them are like, no, I just, I want to be a pilot and I'm here today. And I'm like, cool. First thing you're going to do is start studying for your written. It's the biggest hang up for any student that joins any accelerated program. Right. So if you take a month here on this written and a month there on another written, you're going to be extending your program by like 4 or 5 months, and that's going to hurt you in the long run. So that's the biggest problem for students is getting the written done. So as soon as you get the written done and out of the way, like we have a couple students that come in with all of the writtens done, and they're going to finish in 7-8 months the entire program. Yeah. That usually takes 9 months. So they're finishing 2 months quicker just because they have their writtens done.
What does Thrust do to help equip them to take their written and pass their written?
So obviously we get them set up with the software program. After that, they are required to be in study hall, just one study hall, Monday through Friday, once a day. So we have 2 times that they can do study hall. We can do it in the morning or they can do it in the evening. But this time is just solely dedicated to them studying for their written. We usually always have a proctor there, which is another student, and then we usually always have a CFI there. Biggest thing with this is if you're having a problem with, let's say, VOR work, or you don't understand this question or how they're asking it, we have people there that can help you answer these questions, like a proctor or one of the instructors here. So I think that's the biggest thing biggest resource we use is our study hall time.
Right, that makes sense. And would you say that the ground courses play a more particular role in your flying than the written itself? Does that make sense?
Yes, the written.
Because its goal is to prep you for something specific. So
yeah, the written is just a pain in the butt test that everybody has to pass, and once you get that done and over with, I always say the real learning comes in during the ground, and then you apply that ground knowledge to your flying. That's when the biggest aha moment happens for most of our students, is when they finally get the written over with and they're in the grounds, they're learning the grounds, learning the material and applying that. That's when the biggest light bulb turns on. That
makes sense. Does the written ever prove to be something like a serious blocker for someone? Yeah, that's my question, I guess.
For some, yes, because it's very, very self-study, right? So no one else is going to do for you. No one can really help you study through it. You're the one who has to do all the studying, right? And it's very extensive. There's 1,000 questions in some, 1,500 questions in other. It's shorter in some, but it's very, very self-dependent on how much you're studying, how often you're studying, whether or not you're grasping the knowledge. But it's very, very self-dependent. So if you're not self-motivated to just get the written over with, because nobody likes a written, no one likes tests, right? It's kind of just like a bump in the road that you just got to drive over.
Exactly.
But for some, it can pose a struggle, and we do accommodate as much as we can for students who take a little bit longer. But usually, as soon as they get the written over with, they cruise through the program.
Right. And so someone should, would you say, how serious should someone take it versus how, or there you go. Should anyone ever be worried about whether or not the written's going to be a problem for them if they're listening to this right now, or they've heard about the writtens or something like that, but they haven't taken them yet, and now they're like, oh, I wish I did that already. Should they be worried about the writtens?
They shouldn't be worried if you're someone who, I guess, I don't want to say struggle in school, but just does not do well with like memorization or studying, self-study. I would get ahead of the curve now, start studying before you go to any flight school. There are videos out there, there's YouTube videos that you can watch, there's self-study materials, there's, you can buy the Sporties material and watch all the videos that they go through. There's a lot of things that you can do to kind of give yourself an edge.
Yeah. That makes sense. And there's not people necessarily just never getting past the written, right? That's not like a thing, is it?
Everybody, I don't want to say everybody, but 99% of the people that go through any program are, I mean, it's a requirement, right, to pass the written before you can get your license.
I guess if I ask it differently, people aren't like dropping out. People don't ever drop out because of a written, right?
Negative.
Okay, gotcha.
Nope.
It'll just slow them down a little bit.
Yeah, they'll just slow them down, and obviously we have, I don't want to say a buffer, but we can be flexible with the students, so it allows them to take a little bit longer time before they pass it, before we can get them in a plane. Okay,
that makes sense. And that's just so to make sure that they prioritize it, right?
Yep.
So if you don't finish your written by the time you finish your ground, you're not going to still get to fly yet, right?
Correct. You, at that point, will be grounded until you finish your written.
Would you have any advice for your younger self? I'm talking about maybe fresh out of high school and you're wondering about what you want to do. Let's say that you're still thinking about aviation. Would you have any advice for yourself at that point?
One thing, and this is not necessarily advice, I mean it is advice, but I'm going to say get your medical. First thing, before you can even do any flight training, make sure you can get a medical. Make sure you can get a first class medical, because that is the ticket. You will waste thousands of dollars if you start your flight training before you get your medical, and then when you go get your medical, you don't pass, you're out all that money because you can't even become a pilot. So immediately get your medical. Other advice I would give myself is be in the moment. Flight training is a lot. It's really, really fast, but it's a lot. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the hardships of flight training. Enjoy the failures, because they're only going to lead to passes. Enjoy being with your fellow students. Enjoy all of it, because you only do it once. You only go through flight training once, right? So just enjoy it. Enjoy the moment. The other thing I would say is, if you're going to get in this industry, start now. Start tomorrow if you can, because you never know when the next opportunity is.
Do you have any examples as to why that's your advice, any of that?
When I was in high school, I knew when I was 16 years old, I knew I wanted to be a pilot. I was like, I want to start in college. I was like, everybody goes to college, I might as well just start in college. If you can start in high school, you don't need a degree to be a pilot now. If I could have started earlier, I would be an airline pilot at this point, right? So if you're young and you're ambitious, like I was, I would have started earlier. And now you can, because you don't need a degree.
That makes sense. Thank you for joining us. It's a little hot in the hangar. I don't know about you, but I'm sweating a little bit. If I was on your side, I wouldn't be able to see anything. It'd be so bright. I already thought maybe you'd put your glasses on by now.
I should have, dude. I've been sweating this entire time.
But yeah, I do appreciate you sitting down with us, and it seems like you're a good person to have over here running the school, so I appreciate that too. And if anyone's listening still, I'm assuming that you had enjoyed this episode enough to get to this point, and that should mean you should definitely subscribe, like, comment, that sort of thing, because it definitely helps out the channel and allows more people who are interested in aviation to hear what pilots have to say. And on that note, we'll see you guys on the next episode. See you next week.